Wow, it's raining gators and walking catfish today. So what better day to talk about depression? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Milk and Condoms with Mack. I am your girl Mack, and today I want to talk about a subject that's not really widely talked about in our communities of color, but it is starting to get more notoriety, and that namely is mental health. And there's so many aspects of mental health to talk about, but specifically I'd like to talk about depression. So I don't purport to be any kind of psychologist or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you my experience with depression. So I think my first real sink down into depression happened in my 20s. In my very early 20s, I had a very devastating event that happened to me. And I'll probably do a video about that soon. I haven't done it yet. Not time yet for me to do that video, but I will do it. But I had what I considered at the time a life-changing event that happened to me. I was in graduate school. I was maybe about 21 years old, and the event shook me so bad. It was like I just felt like my life as I knew it was over. I felt like my value was gone, my worth was gone. And I just could not see any way that life was going to get any better for me. The odd part is at that same time, someone that I had been casually dating over, a couple of years, someone that I really, really had a strong interest in, that person came back into my life and was interested in kind of pursuing our friendship again. But I just was so fixated on the life event that I had that I just could not see my way into picking back up or resuming that relationship. And so that sank me even deeper into what I now see is depression. But really, it was the culmination of several years. It was coming on for several years. I already did a video before, if you've been watching my channel, where I did the video on the abortion that I had when I was almost 15 years old. And so fast forward 5 years, and here comes this other devastating event. I was in graduate school. In fact, I was the first ever African American selected for a PhD fellowship at a predominantly white institution, which was a great honor, and it would have put me on track to have like a PhD at age 24, 25. But I couldn't see beyond the immediacy of what I was going through. And so I think that was my first time trying to figure out how to deal with stress and anxiety and depression and all of those things. And I realized that the difference was I had been self-medicating since I was an early teen. I smoked a lot of weed. I blew a lot of trees. Kids don't do this at home, but I did. I smoked a lot of weed to escape all the negative things that were replaying in my head, the scene, because I was partially tranquilized when I had my abortion. So that means I was partially awake. And then just the feelings of worthlessness that I felt, the feeling of abandoned by the baby's father, the feeling of disappointing my parents, all of those things, I just lit it up and, tried to forget it. But, everything that goes up must come down. And so, you can get high for a minute, but it doesn't erase the situation. Thankfully, when I went off to college, I really didn't, I had a real bad experience trying to go to the hood where I wasn't familiar to buy some drugs with my roommates. And got sold a bag of probably oregano, and and we tried to fire that up, one evening, and I realized, you know what, girl, it's time for you to let this weed thing go. And so really and truly, I was able to, because I was, for the first time in a really long time, I really enjoyed college. Historically black college was the best thing that ever happened to me at that time in my life. And so I really wasn't getting high because I was really enjoying life. I had put the past behind. As soon as graduation hit from high school, I left all of that stuff back home, and I really didn't look back. I rarely went back home unless I had to. I spent all my summers at college because home just represented, not home, my personal home, but just the whole scene in my community, in my hometown, just represented too many bad memories for me. And so, but here I was, I had graduated from college in 3 years. Here I was in graduate school. Here I had this great opportunity. And because I couldn't stop making bad life choices, I had this devastating event that happened to me. And so I made the choice to come back home because I couldn't share with anybody what was going on. I didn't feel comfortable sharing with anybody what was going on. I didn't feel comfortable sharing with my parents, my family. And so I told them kind of a half-truth, but I came home and I started working, had a great job right out of college, a very responsible position that was going to lead to big things. But I still just couldn't find that piece of happiness. And so I finally realized, you got a problem, girl. So I went to, I found a Christian counselor, and I went, but I just didn't feel comfortable because no, I didn't hate my mother, and no, I didn't have a horrible childhood. In fact, I had a pretty darn good childhood. I was pretty well indulged. And so I never went back. It just didn't feel comfortable. I toyed with suicide more times than I care to remember during that period. But the one thing that something always stopped me, and just, it was this nagging sensation that I had a purpose in life. And the thought of me taking my life, I just couldn't bring myself to do it because for some reason I felt like I had a purpose. So fast forward, I met my husband a couple years after moving back home. And then about 6 to 8 months after I met him, I moved probably 3,000 miles away from home with him. We got married a couple years after that, and not soon after we had our first kid. And then, bam, I had my first experience with postpartum depression. I didn't know what to call it. I just know I wasn't happy. This baby thing was too much for me. And I can remember my first postpartum visit with my gynecologist, and he was asking me questions, and he could just tell something wasn't right. Had my baby in the stroller, and he told me to fill out this paper, and he'd come back, and he just wanted to see where I was. And so he, when he came back, he turned beet red as he was reading this paper. I guess it was some kind of depression survey. And so he finally said to me, he said, do you feel like you would harm yourself? How are you feeling right now? Do you feel like you could harm yourself? And I looked that man straight in the face and I said, no, I really don't. And he said, well, are you sure you aren't dealing with some depression? And I said to him, the way I feel is I wouldn't hurt myself. I just kill my family. And I figure if they put me in jail, I could just catch up on my reading and get some sleep. I never seen anybody whip a prescription pad out so fast in my life and write. He probably did. He probably didn't Baker Act me because I had my baby right there, and he probably broke all kind of violations of Dr. Hippocratic Oath or whatever. I don't know, but he gave me this prescription for an antidepressant, and I remember starting to take it, and I didn't feel any better. In fact, I started feeling worse because I felt like, now you're saying I'm crazy, and I'm not crazy. And so I don't appreciate you calling me crazy. These pills not making me feel no better. Although what I didn't know is they do take a bit of time to alter, your whatever mental chemical balance and all that. But I didn't have time for all that. I just wanted to feel better. I played around with this thing back then called St. John's wort, a couple things. But I made up in my mind, I'm just not crazy. So I said, let me go and try counseling again. And I remember sitting across from this middle-aged white woman, and all I could feel like was like, this woman is judging me. She has no idea what it's like to walk in my shoes. And I was determined once again that, no, I didn't have a horrible childhood. No, I don't hate my mother. No, I wasn't sexually abused as a kid or anything like that. So I'm like, these are the same questions they keep asking me, and we're not getting anywhere fast. But, just so they won't Baker Act me, I'm going to keep going to this lady. But it really... The only good part that came out of that was that she introduced me to journaling, and that probably saved my life for me. Now, for other people, it's going to be different. Some people really do need medication, but journaling just let me spill my heart out. All of those things that I couldn't talk about to anyone, not my closest friends, not even my husband, because I felt like people wouldn't understand. For years, I've heard things in my head, and I don't mean voices like, I used to say I had double personalities, but I don't mean that clinically, but I was one person in front of people, and I was a whole different person. I would force myself to be outgoing. I would force myself to like the things that my friends liked, or to want to do the things that my friends wanted to do, and that just really wasn't me. I was not comfortable being me. And it wasn't until through journaling that I realized that I really had a gift for writing, something I had always done since a child. And that I could just express myself without any fear of being judged. And so between writing and that thing that always was there that told me, your life has value, you have purpose, I could never consider taking my own life. And so as I've gotten older, and as I've gotten in the Word of God, and as I found His purpose for my life, which is really trying to help other people who are lost realize that we make so many mistakes, but we are not the sum total of our mistakes. And so as I accepted Christ, and as I got to understand His love for me and how He made me perfectly the way that He wanted me to be, I just had to accept who He made me to be and be okay with it and walk in that. And I came to learn, and I came to have this expression that as long as I felt kind of anxiety or depression coming on, I would just do this. And understand that the breath of life is a gift. And as long as there is breath in our bodies, there is hope. Things can always get better. But when we're no longer breathing, there is no longer hope. And so I'm not going to drag this video out too much today. I do still have my moments when I get frustrated, or when I feel like I am not completely fulfilling my purpose. And that's, if anything depresses me at this stage in the game, it's that I feel like I still haven't accomplished that thing that I know that God created me to do. I feel like I'm still behind the 8 ball. I'm still lacking or lagging. But I just always remember to calm myself, to breathe, and I think about those little nuggets of inspiration I get when someone sends me a text or an email, or someone that I haven't talked to in years upon years that says, you know, that one thing that you said to me, or you sharing your story really made a difference. And that reminds me that I just need to breathe out. Because as I keep breathing, there's hope that I still have a yet time to accomplish all that God created me to be. And so I share that with you today. Breathe in, breathe out. There's still hope. If you can't get a handle on that thing that's making you sad right now, that's okay. Please seek out a licensed mental health counselor or a pastoral counselor, or talk to someone that you think can help you walk through this. It's nothing wrong with asking for help. Sometimes we just need to get through the immediacy of the situation. And we need to see that once we breathe in and we breathe out, and that each new day is a gift from God. But sometimes you're so stuck in the present of what it looks like that you can't see the gift of the future. And so I just say to you, do whatever you need to do to get over this period, this short period of time. And baby, I'm here to tell you, I've been on this earth a good long time now. Not long as a lot of the old folks, but I will tell you that I've had more good days than I've had bad. And I will tell you that things that look so insurmountable and felt like they were so overwhelming, when I look back, baby, and all I can do is give God thanks and praise that He brought me through that. And He comforted me through that so I could show up on Milk and Condoms with Mack and tell you that you too, baby girl, can get through this. Have faith, seek the help you need, put the work in, but if nothing else, understand that brighter days are around the corner. The past is the past, and you can have a better, a more fulfilling life, a happier life. It's possible if you only believe. Have faith, have hope. God is love. When you accept that love, everything changes. I hope today you found some nugget of hope in this video today. I'm so grateful that you're continuing to take this journey with me, or if this is your first time, your first video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I look forward to seeing you on my next video. This is Milk and Condoms with Mack. I'm Mack. I love you.